just a couple of months, which is nuts, and I'm so excited. But in honor of the beautiful city of Stockholm that I've lived in for 10 years, I would like to do another little video about it, and I would like to do my top 5 things that I love about Stockholm and the 5 things that I'm a kind of meh about that I won't miss. I've been living in Stockholm, as I said, for 10 years already, or it will be 10 years in January, but we might as well just round up. And I love it here, and I don't want to move because I don't like it here. We just want to move a little bit outside of the city, so we'll be about 45 minutes away from Stockholm, so we can still go in during the day if we had errands to run or want to go for dinner or go to a show or something. We're not completely away from Stockholm, but we will have our everyday life will be in a much smaller town, and I think it's going to be so exciting to have that change, and I think it will be really good for our son, and I think it will be a really beautiful place to grow up. Well, we'll see. So I don't like to be a Debbie Downer, but let's start with the things that I'm a little bit meh about Stockholm. Number 1, it is very expensive here. Food and dining, especially food and wine, is incredibly expensive, especially at restaurants. They mark up the prices by at least 400%, especially on drinks and wine, because there's a lot of taxes and stuff like that, so it's understandable. But still, it's insane. I don't have the budget for going out to eat. Maybe Johan and I will go out to eat maybe for lunch a couple of times a year, max maybe once a month, but that doesn't happen very often. I also don't think it's worth it if you go to a nice restaurant and it costs a lot of money, and it's not worth it. So that's kind of a bummer. Shopping's quite expensive here. It's hard to find deals. Sometimes there's not very many sales. I'm used to the States where they kind of almost give away some items, like because you have 50% off and then an extra 20 on top of that, and then you have a coupon. It's just like, what? So that doesn't really happen here, which is okay. Another thing that's really annoying with Stockholm, my number 2, is that there is insane amounts of construction at the moment. They're rebuilding Slussen, which is like the lock in the middle of the city. And Stockholm is built on 14 different islands, so there's tons of bridges across, so you can't really always get to some places easily. You have to go a certain way because there's water. But there are boats and trains and buses and all that stuff, but Slussen is right in the middle, and they're redoing that because it's been falling apart. This is going to be insanely chaotic for the next, I don't know how many years, at least 5 when they're rebuilding this. So I'm glad that we're moving out of the city. I'm also glad I don't live really on the other side. Like Nacka, they're going to be bombarded by these troubles with different bus routes and all this stuff. Oh, so annoying. A third thing that Johan and I always notice when we go into the city is how crowded and busy it is. Also because of the construction, it feels like you're forced to go in certain areas and you can't walk everywhere because there's construction everywhere. So it's a little annoying. There's just people everywhere. It's also a little bit different in the summertime because everybody's out. Now when we're going into the fall and winter time, everybody stays indoors, so it's a little bit less busy and it feels like it's kind of your own city again. But it's really busy, and I can't wait to move out to the country where it's going to be a lot calmer, less people, just really chill. It's going to be nice. 4th thing, public transport. It's a love-hate relationship for me, but for the most part I like it. But sometimes it is smelly, crowded, gross. Now that like I mentioned, I have a stroller, so it is a little bit more difficult for me to maneuver through the different trains and stations and all that stuff. You have to find elevators, and escalators sometimes don't work, and When you have a stroller in Stockholm, you can ride the bus for free, but sometimes the bus is full in the spaces where the strollers are because they only fit 3 or something. Or if somebody has one of those double strollers, then it only fits 2 strollers. And then if you can't get on the bus, you have to wait for the next one, and maybe that one doesn't come for like 20 minutes. So that can be quite a bummer. It's happened to me a couple times, but you mean like ride for free and or have to, you know, maybe miss a bus, not that big of a deal. On to my top 5 favorite things about Stockholm, and this is more fun because I think there's way more things that I love about Stockholm than I'm not really pleased with. As you heard, there's not much stuff that I'm irritated by. I think it's mainly that it's so expensive and you can hardly find deals and stuff that irritates me. Number 1 is Stockholm is beautiful. It is a gorgeous city, both in the summertime and in the winter when it's cold and there's ice everywhere, because it is built on all these islands. There's water everywhere and the buildings are really beautiful. For the most part, Stockholm has kept all these old buildings, historical buildings that hasn't rebuilt with, thankfully, like in the 60s with all these high buildings that are just super boring and so sad. So there's a lot of history here, and the buildings are beautiful, like I said, and I just love the way the city looks. My number 2 is the proximity to nature and water. Again, water is everywhere, but it's kind of insane that Stockholm's a huge city and you can go swim in the water in Stockholm. Maybe not right in the middle of the city, but there's a little island called Långholmen, which is off the Söder, which is still in Stockholm, where you can go swimming. It's a little, there's lots of parks and trails and stuff, and you can go for a swim in the summer if you dare, because it's insanely icy cold, but you know, you still can, and that's really exciting to me. Also, in Stockholm, there's tons of parks and stuff like that, but we have Djurgården, which is the one island that's pretty much just a park, and that's beautiful to go on walks and stuff. I can't wait to take a nice fall walk with you one and Stark and see all the leaves there. It's amazing to think that it's like Central Park, I guess, but it's an entire island that we have. It's such a luxury to be in town. It's like 10 minutes from the city center and you just can walk, and then you're out in the woods. You can take a little stroll. It's beautiful. And then also outside of Stockholm, if you just take the train for like 15 minutes, you can come to these beautiful countryside views, and I think that's something that really draws me to the city, because I do like city life, but I do really like the country life. My number 3 is public transport. Again, on the good side, I don't need a car, which I love. In the States, I felt like I was wasting my life sitting behind a car wheel, driving to different places, sitting in traffic and all this stuff. Oh, it was horrible, and just like wasting so much gas. And it is fun to be able to just jump in your car and go, and you don't have to wait for buses or trains and look for a schedule, and sometimes they're not on time or they don't come, and you're just like, when it's minus 10 degrees and you just want to be inside your car warm and cozy, like, then I wish I had a car. But for the most part, public transport works so well, and it's nice to have the freedom to be able to like have a glass of wine at a friend's house, and then you just take the bus home. You know, you don't have to think about driving drunk or having to wait many hours before driving home, stuff like that. It's so much safer, and it's also nice on public transport. You can read a book while you're traveling or scrolling through Instagram if you want to, or now I keep company with my little boy Stark, but it's nice. I kind of like, I especially love taking the bus. I think it's quite calm, especially during the middle of the day when there's like nobody else on the bus except for like a couple old people. So we're just riding the bus, doing my little errands. It's nice. It's like a little tour of the city too. Number 4 is appreciation for good design, and design is everywhere in Stockholm, and it's You can see it, of course, in stuff like the clothing, the stores, the interior shops. The restaurants are very trendy and they're always changing, and they're always make sure to be like at the what's popular now. So it's really exciting to see when new shops, restaurants pop up, because then you know what's in. And then even when you go to the grocery store, everything is designed. Like a bag of flour will have beautiful design, or like even milk, things like that. They're just, design is everywhere and people appreciate it, and people will actually like pay a little bit more to have good design, and I think that's good. Especially for me, since I'm an illustrator and designer, that means that people appreciate what I do a little bit more here, I feel. And then my fifth one is that people appreciate quality of life here. It is very important with taking holidays, taking vacations, taking care of yourself, making sure to dress well and take care of yourself, to enjoy life, to stuff like that. And I think that's a quality that I miss sometimes in the States, for some people, and people really enjoy their free time. Lots of people have summer houses, because it's now the thing. Everybody in Sweden, not everybody, but it's a lot of people enjoy this whole like connection to nature. You kind of become like, I don't know how to call it, like go back to zero when you've been out in the nature or by the water. At least that's how I feel. Just taking a walk when you feel a little bit stressed or overwhelmed, take a walk and then you just feel like good again. Little Stark has woken up from his nap, so I better go and take care of my little boy. But thanks so much for watching.